Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to the Therapy Hub. Tonight's live show at 8 p.m. We have a very, 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 very famous person, a very special person, a legend, a Canadian not a hip hop, a Canadian hip actor. Not a hip hop artist, a hip actor. And surely a legend. We're very thankful to have him here today. You know, Therapy Hub, you know what we're about. We're here to transform the mind and heal the soul. So I hope we do the same. I hope we do that. Historical drama, Murdoch Mysteries. I hope y'all seen it. I hope y'all heard of it. And if you haven't heard of it or seen it, you will know about it today because we have the one and only Peter Keleghan, who's going to join us for a live interview today. So I hope everybody is tapped in. I hope you have your popcorn or your little snacks, your cheesies, or whatever you need to sit back and relax and enjoy this interview today, because we are going to have a really good conversation. Now, before we go further, I want to shout out my sponsors, my main sponsors. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to have this show because they pay the bills. So we got to shout them out, man. The first sponsor we're going to shout out is to my boy Shaz from Lost and Found. All right. Now, Lost and Found is not like any ordinary clothing company or brand. They are completely different. They have curated retro and unique sports apparel. They do buying and selling, okay? They got unique fits, unique finds, and they're located in Toronto, Miami, LA, and Chicago. They're all over the place, man. You know what I'm saying? And of course, they got limited drops. Can't forget about the limited drops. So if you see anything on their site that you like and you want to get it right away, you got to make sure you cop it, because then guess what's going to happen? You're going to turn into a hater. And you know that we don't like haters on Therapy Hub because all we do is show love. All right? We don't want haters here. We don't need the haters, and you don't want to be a hater. So make sure you get that gear before it is out. Shout out my boy Shaz from Lost and Found. Shop X all day, every day. And you can't forget about my boy Sultan Jewelers. You know what I'm saying? Celebrating his Ramadan right now. So happy Ramadan. Also happy Ramadan to Lost and Found as well. And everybody else out there that's celebrating Ramadan. I know you are breaking your fast now and enjoying time with your family and your friends. So I hope you really enjoy it today. All right. And for many more days to come for this month. I know it's your holy month today. So shout out to everybody that is enjoying Ramadan. All right. Including my sponsor, Sultan Jewelers. You can buy and sell their gold, but do not go there and anytime soon, because they probably won't be there. And if they are there, it probably won't be Sultan Jeweler. They'll probably have somebody else there. But even if they are there, they are doing halal work and they're just working. All right. So you can go and just buy and sell gold there, or do whatever you want. And they got the best prices in the city, and you can locate them at 1408 Gerrard Street East, and that is in Little India Bazaar, Toronto. But with further ado, I would like to introduce today's guest. I am excited to have him. He is a legend. Okay. He stars and has roles in over, I believe, 20 movies, he's been doing this, over 40 years. 40 years. He's definitely a legend. And he's done about that much TV series and as well as movies combined. So we're going to get into more of his history and the things that he's been doing. And he's also born in Montreal, Canada. I'm not sure where he's raised. That's a question where I want to ask. I'm pretty sure he's raised here in Toronto, but if not, I could be mistaken. But he is born in Montreal. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce your boy, my boy, everybody's boy, Peter Keleghan. Peter, how you doing today?
I'm well. How are you? That was a hell of an intro.
I try, man. I'm still working on it. You know what I mean? I'm still working on my hosting skills here, man.
Well, I'm overwhelmed. Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. Thank you for coming on. Now, um, for many people, for the people out there who don't know who you are, I wanted to introduce
There's nobody.
I because I you,
There's
you're
one
too
person, and they
famous.
live in Lithuania.
That's too far. You know what I mean? So they gotta know who you are. Am I right? Or am I wrong?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm a Canadian actor. I work for the
Yes,
CBC, not CBS. So I have what I have in this country, and I made a conscientious decision to live in this country because I want to be here as opposed to anywhere else that people
correct.
thought I should be. And yeah, I mean, it's half the money but twice the work. So I'm happy to be here. And I
Uh,
was raised in Montreal, by the way.
Oh, you were raised in Montreal. Okay, which part
Yeah,
of
I
Montreal
went.
were you raised? Were you
Yeah,
raised in?
I lived there from, well, when I was born in '59 to I left for theater school in England in 1979, and then I moved to Toronto in '81, and
Okay,
then Los Angeles back and forth for pilot season, which doesn't really exist anymore. And then I lived in LA permanently from '90 to '95, and then I moved back.
right. Because you do have children in LA, correct?
I had two kids in LA, and it got to a point where we went through the Northridge earthquake, and then there was riots and floods and, oh gosh, metal detectors at elementary schools, and I thought,
Hmm.
no, not don't want to be here anymore.
And you had to just come back up to the north, man. Good decision,
Yeah,
man.
and knock wood, it's been great. I've had a good run at it up here, which I really appreciate because it is the best country in the world, and we
Yeah,
produce every bit as good a product as anywhere else in the world, and it's just
we do.
sometimes we just don't celebrate, our own.
We don't. And I think it's just because mainly we kind of look at the other parts of the world more greater than ourselves. And I just feel like we don't, and that's why I started MTV. It's a great, thank you for bringing that up, because MTV Canada is pretty much like was a blog page, like a hall of fame for Canadian talent, right? From arts, music, and production. And I kind
Right.
of wanted to like show everybody the greatness that Canada has. Like we have top-notch actors, including yourself, from Keanu Reeves, from John Candy to you name it.
Well, God bless you for doing it, man, and
Seth
and and
Rogen.
and you go. And the more we celebrate ourselves, the better off we're going to be. But there's always been that thing where we're sort of colonials in some way. We're
Right,
colonials, and we're sort of socialists at the same time. And in the '50s and the '60s, it was if you could make it in England, then you were valid. And now
right,
it's if you make it in LA, you're valid. And then the socialist part is that we are all in the same canoe, and if you want to get a little bit above your rank, too bad, buddy. You've had your shot, and
right.
get to the back of the line. But there is validity always to being in what I call the Olympics of creativity in television and film, and that is
Mhm.
Los Angeles. And if you can make it out there, and you can live out there, and put up with the lifestyle and the people and
Yeah.
everything else, God, good on you. But I couldn't do it. I don't know. I felt very stifled. I felt very I didn't feel at home. The
Right.
the work was good. I loved the work. But when I wasn't working, the paranoid desperation of everybody that lived out there was just too much. Everybody was in the business, and everybody had a script, and everybody wanted to know where you were going and what you were doing,
Right.
and the kind of experiences that I had with some producers, and well, it's all going to be in my memoirs, which I'm writing now. But
Mhm.
it's some pretty nasty things go on down there.
And that's what I wanted to get into. And I know, like, guys like yourself, I have to respect because you kept the foundation in Canada and you did a lot of like known TV series and known movie roles. But the main ones that you did were primarily focused not in, like for Canadians, but it was primarily focused with Canadian talent, like including Working Moms and I believe it was Screwballs, which was like I think it was your first actual role play that you did.
Yeah, you're not supposed to mention that. That's okay.
Well, I mean that was 1983, so
That was my first paid gig. Well, it wasn't
yeah.
my first paid gig. It was one of my first paid gigs, and it was non-union, and it was just this a horrible, horrible experience. You know, some Canadian producer got,
Uh-huh.
I don't know, a few $100,000 from Roger Corman. I don't know if you remember him, but he was a big
No.
B movie producer down in the
Okay.
States for decades. And anyway, came up and made this sort of teen exploitation film, fashioned after Porky's and everything else that was going on. But it was a, oh my gosh, it was an experience.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I want to ask you, how is it like because Hollywood people think is it's not what it seems to be, right? Like going to like I mean, I have never been to LA, but I've been to New York. So I kind of know how it is like New York, the kind of the vision that they paint New York as, and then versus me going there. Like my grandmother owned two buildings on a street in Bronx called Digney Ave. So it was like right, like I went like I've been like in the trenches of New York City, and
Yeah.
I've seen things, and I kind of like it's not the way it seems. It's kind of like seems like Toronto, like everyday life. You just get up, you go. It's just a little bit more people. It's a little bit more busier and that type of thing.
Well, when you
However,
when you think that the population of California is the
mhm,
population of Canada, it's
exactly.
it's massive. It is
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
absolutely massive, and the infrastructure that has been set up since Charlie Chaplin times in the 20s
Mhm.
and black and white movies is tremendous.
Yeah.
It's leaps and bounds beyond anything that we have in this country, except for the fact that we have really good crews. We have got
Mhm.
a lot of great talent, and we've got a lower dollar, which brings an awful lot of producers up here, and they come up here, and we're building infrastructure like crazy with
Mhm.
studios in BC and studios in Toronto. So, coming back to Toronto was in one sense a no-brainer because there was an awful lot of American work that was coming up here too.
Right.
So, we had in essence the best of both worlds. We had our own homegrown stuff, which was the best and most fun to do, and then there was the
Mhm.
service industry, which greased the wheels a little bit. But
Okay.
Los Angeles, like any other big city, is it can be completely impersonal and overwhelming, and really not a place to bring up a family, which I
Los
got away
Angeles,
from.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was considering moving to San Jose one time, like, because I study, like, I like to study, like, I go online and or go on YouTube and do the walking tours of the cities and stuff like that. And I kind of I like San Jose. I think it's nice. It's Silicon Valley's there, I think, but it's a little bit more of a upper class or upper classy type of
Yeah.
community, and it's very expensive to live. However, Toronto, the difference between market rent in San Jose and Toronto is not that much. San Jose maybe just maybe like maybe 2% more
Oh,
than Toronto. Yeah.
okay.
So it's not greatly it's not as much. Um like here
Yeah.
but the rent has actually gone down quite a bit down here in Toronto as of recent, which
Hmm.
is great. But anyways, I wanted to ask, how is what is the difference between the American scene and the Canadian scene, the Canadian Hollywood scene and the American Hollywood scene? Because as you mentioned, there's a lot of dark stuff that happens in that underworld there. Explain to the people the type of things that could possibly even, you know, mess with people's mental health, because there has been incidents with actors committing suicide.
Oh, sure. Yeah, lots. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, the reality is, if you get to be to any kind of mega stardom down there, especially if you're starting very young, you get used to people catering to you all the time, and
Mhm.
you're, the respect and the adulation for creative types down there, especially major stars,
Mhm.
is profoundly affecting for anybody's personality. So you know, once you get to the top, there's really nowhere else to go, right? And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
as proven with so many sitcom actors, and the sitcom runs its course, and where do you go, and what do you do? And there's a lot of stories about crashes that people just can't handle that kind of thing. So living in Canada and doing what we do, we have to be exponentially more experienced we have to know how to create your own things. You have to know how to do comedy. You have to know how to do drama. Maybe you can sing and maybe you can dance.
Hmm.
So all of that stuff adds to the wealth of what we can do in this country as opposed to being pigeonholed in the United States, because you
Right.
can very easily get stereotyped and you do that and you do nothing else.
Hmm.
So creatively, in that sense, we're much better off. But again, we have this attitude about us that if you're living in Canada, are you really that successful a human
Yeah.
being? One good example I've always said is that if you see Ryan Gosling or Mike Myers come back to Canada, you would probably automatically say, oh well, I guess they're on the downslope of their career, when in
Yeah.
actual fact they may just want to live here.
Right.
And take an example of where it doesn't happen, like in Australia with Jeffrey Rush. He's celebrated every way from Sunday in Australia,
Hmm.
where he's from and where he lives. And he'll come to Hollywood every once in a while and he'll do a movie and he'll win an Oscar and then he'll go back to Australia. We just don't have that sensibility here, mainly because we're so close to that big shiny light that everybody is
Hmm. Yeah.
staring at, and nobody really wants to pay attention to something that is probably every bit as good, or oftentimes is every bit as good. But is not as well funded, so it's not as slick. It's not as the Tom Hanks aren't visible and on screen with you and everything else. So that
Hmm.
well, we have what we have, and we have a wonderful little secret in our country, which I think we need to celebrate more and to cherish more.
Hmm. Yeah, most definitely. I got a question also to add on to that as well. Now, do you feel that we can make it in Canada versus having to go to Hollywood or to America for um because the hip hop does it as well, music. They like it's very hard to get a record deal here. You have to travel to, America or go to the UK. I remember back in the 90s the UK was one of the places to go to sell records and to actually be heard. Do you feel like that is an ongoing trend and it's still an ongoing trend? Or do you think that we can actually change that now that things have gotten
Yeah,
a little
I,
better?
I do actually, because the medium is changing a great deal. We have
Hmm.
so many exponentially more opportunity to be on, to do what you're doing, to do
Hmm.
films, to do TV series, to do to cut a record in your garage, like my
Right.
son does, and it sounds every bit as good as anything produced professionally.
Yeah.
The technology is getting to be a place where you don't really need to be in a certain area. You can do what you do anywhere you are.
Hmm.
um so yeah, I don't, I think for the big times, for the big money, for the just for the financial infrastructure that Los Angeles has for everything, like television series and HBO and all the networks, which are slowly kind of petering out as well. But
Right.
for all the publicity that they can generate with the kind of funds that they do have, and the amount of money that they can throw at things until they realize it doesn't work and then pull it off, where
Hmm.
they can do, I don't know, 50 pilots a year. We can afford to do 5 pilots a year.
Right.
So the chances
Right.
of them succeeding with 5 and us succeeding with the total of 5 is much greater. So yeah.
Right.
And then the other part of it is, of course, having the opportunity to have a choice. That
Hmm.
Tom Hanks doesn't have to look for anything anymore, or neither does Harrison Ford, or not. So,
Right.
but at the same time, those numbers are so minuscule compared to the amount of talent that's out there, and that's another reason why I came back, because I wanted to work more than I wanted to wait. And yeah,
Nice,
I
nice.
mean, agents down there thought I was nuts because things were going very well, but I
Right.
just
Right.
I couldn't take the lifestyle. And I have a pretty good story about a producer who was I did a pilot for ABC, a two
Okay.
episode pilot, and the producer on the show was um, very sort of maternalistic. She was very, caring, and big basket of fruit and flowers in my dressing room, and she knew I was having a baby, my first kid at the time, and she said, "Well, you go to juvenile shop in Ventura and you tell them that I said hi." And she was, she became very friendly, and I thought, well, gosh, this is really fantastic. I
Yeah.
really made a good friend down here. Anyways, time goes on, and then I had an option on my contract to say, if it was picked up, if the pilot was picked up and it was going to go
Mm-hmm.
to series, that they would have me exclusively. But if it wasn't picked up for the fall season, there would be a small fee, $5,000, which, back then was a lot of money for me,
Right,
but
right, right,
for them was a big lunch.
right.
And would they, they would have to pay me that, and it would keep me exclusive to them till for another few months. Anyway, my the time comes where they have to pay the money, and they don't get the money, and so my agent calls and says, are you going to be paying Peter this little stipend to keep him on hold?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, no, not really, because he's been telling us that he's been going to auditions, and we don't think he's close to getting anything. So, no, we don't think we need to spend that money. We think we've got him whether or not we pay him.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a punch in the gut,
Oh
that they
man.
used the information that they
Right.
got from me personally to use against me professionally, knowing full well that I had just had a kid and I really could have used the money.
It was a snake
And
move.
oh, it was
Yeah.
awful. It was awful.
Yeah.
And the biggest part about it is, I tell my Canadian friends this
Right.
story, and they say, "Well, God, that's awful." They used information they got from you personally against you
Mm-hmm.
professionally, and that's really terrible. And all my American friends that I tell this to, the actors and things that I told this to, they said, "Yeah, what are you, stupid? You don't tell a producer your business. God,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
stupid, man."
yeah.
And I, of course that happens up here, but not to
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of extent. And I just, no thanks.
Yeah, I know it's like they're right into a to a certain extent, but it's kind of like, yeah, like no, like
Mm,
it's too normalized to the point where it's just like sometimes people just shrug it off and they don't even care
yeah,
versus it
and
being
and that's
addressed.
life, and that kind of backstabbing is life, and people get
Yeah,
desperate. They do anything.
man. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that, man. That must have been, you know,
Well, I mean,
uh,
no, it was lesson learned.
I was gonna say, yeah, a lesson learned. You're right. You're right. So you know what? Thank God that happens. Things happen for a reason. We can say, right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely, absolutely. Now, I got another question for you. Are you a fan of horoscopes?
Not particularly. Like, I know I'm a Virgo, and that's about as far as I go.
Yeah, because you're born September 17th or 15th?
16.
16th. Oh, I missed the number there. 16th. So September 16th, and you're born in Montreal. So tell us your experience. Or tell me the reasons why. First, I want to know your reasons why you don't believe in horoscope. And I'm
Oh, I
gonna
don't
get to
have I don't have anything particular. I mean, when times are lost, I go to anything to try to find any kind of direction. I mean, I
Mhm.
can I can dream out loud, and I can, pray to a god, and I can look at horoscope, and I can do whatever I need to do to kind of bolster my unknowingness, but I don't really have any reason not to believe it or to believe it. I just
Okay.
what's the word? I'm agnostic about it.
Hmm. Well, because I believe that it's just a random question I want to ask, and as they kind of like to get to know your character, because I kind of like believe for me, like, and I wanted to get your input on this as well, is when because I do believe in horoscopes, and the reason why I believe in the horoscope, I don't believe in how they word it because it's just a natural way of it being worded by somebody. I don't know who's doing it.
Right.
However, I do believe that we all can share the same energy if we are all born around the same time, if we're all born within the same because the earth we all share the same sun, we all share the same moon, and we all share the same air. So and the water also is the main thing that we share because we're all on planet earth together, and the water is what kind of like keeps our lands and keeps everything moist and keeps our world pretty much together is the water. And I'm very deep and I'm very I sometimes I get too deep. People are like, whoa, stop. But like I'm very deep because I believe that it's important to understand these things because as people, it helps us come together a little bit more and help us understand each other a little bit more. And that goes to with like being in the music industry and also being in the film industry and learning to get along with producers and other things like that. So this is another question that I wanted to get into is have you what has your experience in the past working with producers that sometimes you get along with and ones that you haven't got along with, and have you figured out the reason why you haven't got along with them?
Um, I mean, I keep thinking about going, what you were saying about horoscope and thinking, oh, well, I didn't get along with him because he's Sagittarius or something, or her because
Exactly.
she's
You know, people
she's
say
like
things like that, right? Well, he's
Taurus.
just
But
you're right.
I know that we do not know. I know that there's
Mhm.
so much that we can learn that we have to learn about so many things. But at the
That's
same
right.
time, we have to, pick and choose what works for us at the right time. And integrity has always been my founding principle, and my
Mhm.
motto in life has always been leave the world a little bit better than you found it. So
Yeah.
how everything else fits into that, I'm kind of pragmatic about, and
Okay.
so why I get along with some people and why I don't, I think for the most part it's creatively. Um, I always try to be incredibly prepared and do the work that I'm asked to do. And if I'm not getting along with somebody, I sort of have to look at what their problem is as opposed to mine. I mean,
Mhm.
if I was asked to paint a picture and make it blue, red, and green, I'll paint a picture blue, red, and green. If they ask me to start using yellow, I'll say, well, why you asked me to
Mhm.
paint a blue, red, and green painting. So there was an awful lot of um, hard to describe, but there was a mentality, especially in classical theater, where you could take a young actor, a man or a woman, and you could
Right.
strip their ego down and break them and tear them down and
Right.
make them into your build them back up into your own image. And I went through a hell of a lot of that, and it really doesn't work for me because I've
Mhm.
always had the discipline to do the best work that I could possibly do. But
Mhm.
that is, that's what they do. That's army training, and that's some classical theater training. But it never worked for me. And looking back on it now, I wished I punched a few people,
Yeah.
but at the same time, again, lesson
Mhm.
learned. That
Right.
this is the attitude that they get, and for the most part, it was their problem. It was their insecurity, not mine.
Right, right. That's great. That's thank you. Good advice. I look at that as advice. And that's kind of what I was trying to get because we there's a lot of young people out there now that have aspiring acting careers, and they are also musicians. I notice for a lot of people in Toronto, they're into music versus into film.
Right.
So I wanted you to kind of give an insight, and I want to ask you as well is if you can kind of like give an insight to the young people out there that are trying to get into film or that are thinking about getting into film, the steps that you have to take, including what you said, listening and sometimes following instructions and reading between the lines on who's right from who's wrong.
Yeah. I have been asked this a lot, and my MO always comes back to do your homework. Uh, don't get caught up in the celebrity of the business. Don't get caught up in any kind of notoriety because you're dead in the water. Just get out there, learn what you need to learn, do the very best you can,
Mm-hmm.
and from there everything will probably fall into place. But people that tend to want to be part of the community, or any kind of artificial oh, I want to work with him or her, or I want
Right.
to, be a star on Instagram or anything else. It's not going to work for you, especially in
Right.
the long run.
You just got to take the
Uh,
opportunity when it comes.
yeah, absolutely, and
Hmm.
and work hard and be prepared and learn your craft and listen. As an actor, it
Hmm.
always starts and stops with listening, because all you really do in acting is listening to what they say and
Yeah.
answering as if it's the first time you've heard it. And if
True.
you're not listening properly, everything else goes out the window.
And the same
That's
thing goes out to the musicians too out there, man. That's why a lot of you young musicians out there are not really making it. And because you feel like you want to be the boss and you want to be in control. Sometimes there's always someone out there that can teach you and show you, or there's people out there that know people that can guide you in the right direction. So it's always important just to be humble. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
start tiny, start
Yeah.
minuscule, and then if you've got the talent and you've got the drive and you've got the perseverance, you'll make it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, nice,
You'll make
nice.
it.
Now, tell us your experience filming the famous TV series Murdoch Mysteries, because now this is a very well-known TV series. It's a Canadian TV series. Am I correct? Because a lot of
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
filming was done in Belleville and a few other places as well.
Yep.
Tell me your experience with this, and also tell me your experience working with William Shatner.
I didn't work with William
Oh,
Shatner.
you didn't work with him, so you
I
guys were on
know
different
I've
casts.
only met him a few times, and
Okay.
we've crossed paths a few times in Banff and
Did you
things.
get to
But
meet him?
I met him in Banff.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice guy.
yeah. Very nice guy. I
All
mean,
right.
I didn't have any kind of long
Just high and by.
conversation or anything. But you probably know my father-in-law, who passed away recently, Gordon Pinsent, was a cohort of or a friend of William Shatner. So
Is that
I
your
was in Banff.
wife's father?
My wife's father was Gordon Pinsent.
Louise? What's your wife's name? Please correct.
Leah Pinsent.
Leon.
Leah.
Leah Pensant, right?
Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes. And that's her father.
it was. Yeah, he passed away a
Hmm.
few years ago.
Rest in
But
peace.
Murdoch, we started that. Gosh, it's been going 19 years now, and
Hmm.
we now hold the record for the longest 1-hour drama in Canadian history. I think
Yeah.
Heartland or something is has more seasons but fewer episodes, something like that. We
Right.
still we anyway. So yeah, I was on in the very first season, and I've done an episode or two every season since. And yeah, my character, Terrence Myers. It's
Yeah,
always a
Terrence.
blast to
Yeah.
do, and
Yeah.
really, really great crew, very
Yeah.
smart. Story editor Peter Mitchell, and everything about that show starts and stops with a woman named Christina Jennings, who owns the production company that has made the thing. It almost actually never happened because it got canceled at City TV
Right.
in a previous incarnation, and Christina single-handedly brought the thing back and sold it to the CBC, and the thing is sold in God knows how many countries now.
Shout out to
I just
Christina for doing that, man.
Oh man, she's a force of nature. Anyway, I just got back from Croatia a little while
Hmm.
ago, and there it was. And I was in New Zealand not long ago, and there it was. And it's a juggernaut. And
That's good. That's a good
yeah,
feeling.
it's a real honor to be on.
Yeah, and that's what that's what I when I recognize you, because how I met you just working one day,
Yeah,
and
well, yeah, something. We were met on Gerard Street or
yeah,
something.
because
Yeah, yeah,
I'm a
yeah,
window cleaner contractor. I also do snow removal,
yeah,
and but I seen you in walking into my customer shop,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
A cheese
you,
shop or something.
that's right. It was a cheese
Yeah,
shop.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
And we met, and then we kept in contact ever since. And I knew who you were right away. I'm like, you're an actor, aren't you? I know you. And you're like, yeah, yeah, Peter Keleghan. I said, yes, Murdoch Mysteries. He said, yes. I said, "Well, awesome, man." Um, Now that TV series was based on a novel written by Maureen Jennings.
correct.
Now, Maureen Jennings, she's written countless of novels, including the very first investigation Murdoch mysteries, dating back all the way to 1998.
Mm.
Um, Was she ever there while you guys were filming? Did you ever
Oh
get
yeah,
to meet
she's
her?
she's there quite often. She lives in Toronto, and she's been on
Oh,
set.
she lives in Toronto too?
What? Oh gosh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would love to get her
She,
on the show one day.
she lives in Leaside. Yeah. Well, we'll connect
Okay.
after.
Yeah.
I'll give you her email.
Awesome. That would
So
be
yeah,
awesome.
she's very prolific writer and very good
Mm-hmm.
writer,
Yeah.
and she's branched off now into all sorts of other avenues with. But I guess Murdoch has always been her the jewel in her crown because she got this
Mm-hmm.
series happening with Christina Jennings. No relation, by the way.
Yeah, I know they have the
Um,
same last name. I know that's kind of
mm,
weird. Yeah.
yeah, but a great woman, and yeah, been around forever and prolific.
Nice, man. And now, did you ever get a chance to talk to her about future other films and other things like that for her other books that she's been writing, because she has quite a bit of other
Yeah,
books.
no, I think she's got a few things in the fire right now, and she's always talked to me about one specific part, and like, gosh, it was a while ago now, so I actually can't remember exactly what it
Hmm.
was, but it was something that she was writing, and it was along the lines of another sort of detective murder mystery thing, and I was a
Okay.
doctor, or I can't remember, but anyway, yeah, no, she, she's the creative force, so there's, it it always has to be there on the page for any kind of success, and it starts with her, and it goes through incarnations with screenwriters like
Hmm.
Peter Mitchell, who's our really talented story editor and producer, executive producer on the show, and he creates all the flow of the show, and we'll hire Bill Shatner and all kinds of other stunt casting to do this and
Hmm.
that, and so she provides the skeleton, and Peter Mitchell and the rest of the writers put the meat on the bone.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah,
I want to ask you and talk about the actual meaning of Murdoch Mystery and the meaning behind Murdoch Mysteries. Because as you know, we're on Therapy Hub, and our mission is to kind of like give people an insight on therapy in every way, because people think sometimes you got to pay for therapy, and there's so many different ways that you can do therapy. And before we go, we have a Q&A for you to we have a little questionnaire game for you to be a part of, and then as well as we have a self therapy tip, and then there's a self therapy question that we want to ask from you. We would like to know what you like to do for self therapy, but we know that Murdoch Mysteries has a meaning behind it. Now, the meaning behind that I've kind of researched and that I've seen while watching it, it's more of a Victorian era, and it has a Victorian era kind of twist to it, and it kind of has um, it kind of shows you know the the racial discrimination and the social injustice to societal society, and everything that happened within society then and now, comparing it till now, showing that there's not really much of a difference. It's still the same.
yeah.
Do you agree?
Well, absolutely. I mean,
Mhm.
the real success about that you can attribute to the show, I think, is that it's like Sherlock Holmes in Toronto in
Yeah,
1910, and
yeah.
it's a family show. There's no sex or violence. Well, there's violence and there's some gory things, but it's a kind of thing that families can watch, and there's not a lot of product out there like that now.
Hmm.
Um, but as far as what it's about, I think the essence is everybody loves a mystery,
Yeah.
and as convoluted as they can possibly be or get. Like the last episode I got was sort of reflecting on the fact that the president down in the United States wants to make us the 51st state, but the show that we just did was that there was an impersonator for the current prime minister, and the nefarious plan of this, who turns out to be an imposter of the prime
Hmm.
minister, wants to make the United States a colony of Canada.
Right.
So all kinds of things like this that it just makes it infinitely interesting and
Nice.
fun to do. Yeah, yeah.
No, it's awesome, man. And um, tell us about your role as Terrence Myers. Explain to the
No,
people who
well,
Terrence
I
Myers
guess
was.
I think he probably fancies himself, like the first James Bond, like
Yeah,
Canada's James Bond, and he's like the man of international intrigue,
he
and
challenged Murdoch a lot too.
yeah, of course,
Yeah,
these spies from Lithuania are coming in, and they're going to assassinate the president while he hunts for
yeah.
the great white moose up in Muskoka somewhere. And
Hmm.
so, and Murdoch being, the more religious, down to earth, you know, um, flatfoot cop, much more provincial. I think my character is there to just confound all of these
Yeah,
sort of very mundane police work, which actually really isn't. But we are in a very sort of provincial Toronto in
right.
1910 or 12. So
Yeah,
yeah, it brings in all this sort of weaving of extra intrigue and yeah. So yeah.
awesome, man. And for those who haven't watched Murdoch Mysteries, I suggest you go and watch that show. It's still premiering. They still show it now on CBC. I think CBC still has it. Even if
Oh,
you,
absolutely. We're halfway through our 19th season, so
it
I
was
think it
live
starts up
today.
after.
Yeah. Sorry. Go
Well,
ahead. Sorry.
it's on every day on various channels, but I
Hmm.
think because we're preempted for the Olympics, and I think is
Oh,
it'll be
okay.
back on right after the Olympics.
But you can also watch it live on YouTube, I believe, too. Some like short series or seasons, I believe, you can watch on YouTube live as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and they get it on in the States. They get it on Acorn or something like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
man.
it's huge in the States too.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah, but
It's
Murdoch
amazing.
Mystery is amazing, man. I'm telling you, man. And for those who haven't watched it, please make sure you watch it and make sure you tap in with my boy Peter Keleghan. Now, I want to talk about Working Moms. He also played in Working Moms as well. Now, Working Moms was a really, really good um, TV series as well about mothers who were working mothers and they were usually married and with children. And I also knew one of the other cast members on that show as well, Sadie Monroe. She was actually my next door neighbor. She was one of my neighbors and a volunteer for my nonprofit. I owned a food bank, and she volunteered with my nonprofit once a week with us.
Nice.
Yeah, and she got her school hours with me and everything. And now
Yeah.
she's in university and she's doing other things and doing big things. Tell us about Working Moms. Tell us about your experience on that show. You played
Well,
the
it's
boss in the office.
Catherine Reitman. Yeah, so
Yeah.
Catherine Reitman created the show, and she was the main force behind the thing. It ran for a few years on CBC, and you probably know that Catherine Reitman is the daughter of Ivan Reitman, and it was pretty intimidating. Every once in a while, Ivan would show up on set and would watch us do what we do, and very down to earth guy. But when you think about his history, it was a bit intimidating watching him. Or you're about to do a scene and he's sitting behind the monitor looking at you this close. And it was very nice guy. Anyway, so yeah, I played the sort of stereotypical white middle-aged boss, and representing, I guess, the kind of glass ceiling that exists for women in the industry, and women perhaps of a certain age, and women perhaps with children or with not, and all of this sort of the controversy between uh, you
Right.
know being a woman in the business and being a white man, and it's a white man's world, or it's a man's world, and
Hmm.
it morphed into something that became, I think, to her credit, a much better show when she flipped the tables on me being the boss and owner, the ultra wealthy owner of the advertising agency,
Right.
to her being the boss, being my boss.
Right.
And I think that sort of happened halfway through its run. And so the dynamic completely changed, and uh, I think it personalized my character much more, because in the early first couple of seasons, I was
Hmm.
just this sort of figurehead of this smirking cavalier kind of guy that didn't take people too seriously,
Right.
except for what he needed, and as far as material wealth and gaining contracts or gaining, accounts, to somebody that became much more paternalistic to her. That it was my character kind of evolved, I think, into a much more sympathetic,
Yeah.
uh, fatherly figure to her that made me much more human than the first few seasons. So that was kind of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. So how it's been like 10 years almost since the last filming of that show, correct?
I
It's
don't think
been
that
like
long.
it's
Maybe
2015, I think it was the last. Has it been
was it?
2015?
No, I don't think it's that long. I think it's probably wasn't it like 7 years, 8 years ago? Oh,
Okay.
maybe you're right. I don't
Because
remember honestly.
Sadie's 19, 20 now, and then she was like 16 years old at that time.
Is that right?
Yeah. Or she was
Okay.
younger. No, she was younger than that. What I'm talking about. She was like 10 years old. She was way before I knew her.
Right.
She was playing in Working Moms. She thinks she was like 10 years old or something like that. She
Mm.
was Alice. Sadie Monroe's Alice. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that was the other thing about,
Yeah, you guys
Catherine's
barely
character had
seen.
two
Yeah.
lives,
Yeah,
right?
you
The
had two
office life
lives.
and the family life,
That's
and
right.
we never crossed paths.
Cross pros. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I
And
never
once
got to work
again,
with Danny
shout out.
Finder and. Hmm?
Yeah, yeah. No, 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 no. Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry to cut
No,
you off.
I just never got to work with the other half of her life, the other
Right.
half of her family life. Like they were around sometimes because we
Hmm.
were shooting scenes at different times, but I never actually got to do anything with the other half. It was
Yeah.
always me and Nikki Duval and the people in the shop.
Right, right, right. So yeah, and then like I said, shout out to the to Canada, Hollywood Canada. So they kind of know how to coordinate things and keep things kind of, versus having all cast members in. Do you find it very hard to do a movie or to do um any type of casting when you have all the cast members there all at once?
No, no, not particularly. I mean,
Or like when you meet
your
everybody
your
or
your your part is this. You're this little bit of a cog that goes into that part of the wheel that turns
okay.
that fast, and then you have to figure out how fast it's turning. And it's just it's just knowing your place in the whole scheme of things, and that's all you really need to do, and be
Yeah,
very
yeah.
prepared to get in there when they call you to jump into the cog.
Right, right.
There's an awful lot of times, I've worked with people that I thought they were kidding because they were looking at their lines as we were doing the scene, and there's just no time. And in television, it's
Mhm.
generally you get out there, you do the lines, you block the cameras, and then you film, and then you're
Mhm.
off. You know,
Well,
so
I've played in roles, like I played roles in plays before. I've actually done acting before. I was thinking about getting into it more, but acting is very. You have to remember, like me, I have short term dementia, believe it or not. So I forget a lot of things like right away. So acting for me sometimes could be challenging.
I guess so.
Yeah, but I did a really good job at in this play, and I played two different roles. I was like one of my characters was killed at one point of a time, so and then I had to play another role, and so I had to remember two different scripts and then do an intro on top of that. So those three scripts plus knowing, but for me it was a challenge, and it was kind of like I was like, okay, you know what? I can do this. You know what I mean?
Good.
I can
Well,
do this. I can do some. I can actually be a good actor. I'm a pretty funny guy.
it's like anything else, you keep doing this with a weight, you're going to get a big muscle, and
Yes,
you keep learning lines, you keep doing this job over and over. You're gonna get better and better, and learning lines is going to be easier. It's
absolutely,
the way it is.
Mr. Callaghan. Now, have you heard about this documentary that I've done called A Man's Cry? Correct? I worked on a
No,
documentary.
I forgive me, I haven't.
Okay, no, no, it's okay. So I have a documentary here. I'll put the cover of it up. It's called A Man's Cry. So what this documentary basically is focusing on is actually produced and directed this myself, and it's also it's shot by Motion Plus Films and EQ Sound International. With my boy Rastafari Samurai. And what we kind of did is I said, I'm going to sit down and work on something that focuses on men's mental health. And because I myself have gone and are going through some mental health issues, as a man. And I kind of figured, okay, the only way for me to, because I went and got help, and the help that I got helped me. And I said to myself, the only way that I know that this can really make a change is if I put it out there. So I thought the only way that I can really put it out there is do a documentary. And Peter, I
Good on
mean,
you, man.
listen, this is my very first documentary, Peter.
Well, send me the link. I'd love to see it.
I will. I've never
Okay.
filmed a film before. I've never done anything. And hopefully, maybe, because what we're doing is we're going to be doing different segments and different parts to it. So because the first part kind of focused on youth gun violence. So let me I'm talking too fast here. The first part, this documentary, The Man's Cry, the very first one I made, was kind of focusing primarily on the root causes. So what we wanted to kind of target was the reason why why men go through mental health, and how it gradually gets worse, and why it gradually gets worse. Because sometimes in the beginning we don't take care of it, or we're not aware of it, or we don't know about it, and we kind of
Right,
look.
or we're just told to buck up and go on.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So, and it affects us later on in life. And so I'm kind of explaining that in this documentary. And then I kind of explain, I kind of touch a little bit about chronic illnesses like epilepsy and what people go through with that as well, because that's also mental health trauma, because, they can't work, or they can't be in relationships, or whatever the case is. So I kind of want to get into that. And, but I figured there's so much more that men go through, like relationships and all kinds of stuff. So I thought maybe make some more, maybe make a part 2 or part 3
Yeah,
to it.
I mean that's a very valuable thing to be doing, my friend, and
Thank you.
because it's not something that men like to talk about, right? It
Hmm.
shows weakness and or perceived weakness, when actually I
Right.
think it's kind of the opposite. It shows strength to be able to try to work on your problems
Yes.
and be able to communicate with other people that might be going through what you're going through, or have been going through what you're going through, or will
Hmm.
go through what you're going through. It's almost like being a father to a son. Let's be fathers and sons to each other as men. You still there? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You're gone. I got nothing.
Right
Oh,
now,
there you go. You're back. You're back.
so now you're gonna hear me a little hollow. You're not actually on my microphone. You're
Okay.
you're on an internal microphone, because I'm running really low on juice here for my batteries. I thought I charged them all, so that's my poor timing and judgment. But it's okay. I'm gonna put us right back on now. I can't use the internal mic. I hate it. It sounds hollow. Doesn't sound professional. And here I am back again.
Okay. Hi.
All right. I apologize.
No worries.
I want to get into a quick Q&A with you here. Uh,
Okay.
now, the Q&A is some of it summarizes around you. So I hope that you know who you who you are, which I know you do.
If I
And
don't after these, I'm in trouble.
yeah, I think you're gonna have some calls here from Leanne. She's like, what's the
Leah.
matter? Leah, sorry. She'd be like, what's the matter with you, man? All right, let's get into some questions here. All right. Now, I want to know, and now this is something that you may or you may not know, but we did discuss it when we were talking. What year did William Shatner play
You
in
got
Murdoch
something about
Mysteries?
William Shatner. Okay.
I like William
2000,
Shatner.
2015.
Yeah. 2015. So yeah, A 2001, B 2009, C 2015, and your answer is correct. It is 2015 that William Shatner played in Murdoch Mysteries. So of course he didn't play a recurring role like our boy Peter Keleghan did, but he did play a role in 2015. Now Peter Keleghan, I got a very funny
He
one for.
played. Who did he play? Did he play Bell or who did he play? He
No, he
played.
played what was his name? I had it written down too. Um Terry.
That's
No.
okay.
No. I have no, what was his name? I have it written down here.
It's all right.
Because I remember I looked it up
It'll
too.
be everybody's homework to see what he
Yeah, it will
played.
be everybody's homework. Um I have it down here. Anyways. Oh no,
Yep.
wait. Oh no, that's oh, he played Mark. That's who he played. Mark Twain.
Mark
Yes.
Twain. There you go.
That's
Yep,
it.
that's right.
Yes.
That's right. Because I heard um, he wasn't. He didn't want to wear the mustache.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So here's one for you. I got a hard one for you, but it's funny.
Okay.
Who is first cousins by blood? A. Donald Trump and Doug Ford. Doug Ford, please forgive me, man. But sometimes you're curious. You guys just seem too similar sometimes, man. B. Rihanna and the Marleys. So all of the Marleys. So Rihanna, do you know who Rihanna is?
Yeah.
Okay. And Brandy or C. Brandy and Snoop Dogg. Can you take a wild guess? Take
I
a
know it's
wild
not
guess.
A. I'm gonna go Rihanna and Marley's.
You're gonna go with Rihanna Marley's? You are wrong.
Brandy is Snoop Dogg. I was just
It,
testing you.
it's Brandy and Snoop Dogg. All right. So Brandy and Snoop Dogg are related, y'all. They're first
That's
cousins.
cool. That's
And
very cool.
yeah, and Ray J and Brandy are brother and sister. So that means Snoop Dogg and Ray J are related. That is
Hmm.
really cool. So here's
Did
one
you
for
know
you.
that Larry David and Bernie Sanders are distantly related?
No, I did not. Bernie Sanders? I
Bernie
did not
Sanders
know
and
that.
Larry David. Yeah.
I did not know that. No, that is
Yeah.
crazy.
That's
Are
neat.
they like cousins by like are they first cousins? Or are they like they
No,
long distance
long
related?
distance. This is
Okay.
related in DNA. Yeah, somewhere way
And
back.
DNA. Okay, but they're related then. They're related. If it's in DNA, they're related. Is that your dog?
That's my dog.
Nice. I got a cat. I love it. She's somewhere around here somewhere. So we have another one. Now this one is for about you. Now you're gonna laugh your head off because you're gonna be like, I don't
Well,
know.
we've already talked about it.
Exactly. So I guess I'll skip this question then. But the funny thing is, New York Undercover. Like, come on. Like, if you, we got to know that Peter Keleghan did not play in New York Undercover. All right. All right. Now, here's one that you may or may not know. Okay.
Mm.
Who played the head role in the Oscar nominated film American X? A.
Edward
Edward
Norton.
Norton, B. Robert De Niro, or C. Edward Furlong. Edward Norton.
Edward Norton.
Do you, do you know about Edward Norton? He
I know of him. I mean, I don't. I've
mhm.
never met him, but yeah, yeah.
He played a really good. I love American X. I think that's a really good movie. I think
Yeah, I saw it a long time ago.
they need to make more movies like that. We don't have no more questions though. That's it. That's all the questions.
Have
Was
a
that a
pet?
good
Need
game
good
or
quality
not? Was
pet
it?
food? Visit 2404. There's an ad for pet food there.
Yes,
I have to
there
check
is.
that out. Okay,
Yes,
man.
please. I was gonna tell you, please go check that out. As a matter of fact, go head on there and let him know that I sent you, and he'll give you 10% off. And there's anything else that you want, we'll try to work out some a more of a discount for you. But he would be more than happy to have you in his store.
I'll be
And
there as long as it's Canadian. I'm shopping there.
yes, have you ever heard of Acana?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have the Acana brand in my kitchen that I use for my cats. Have you ever seen that
Oh,
one?
sure. Yeah, we've had it. Yeah.
Okay, so he sells a canna and he sells, I think I can't remember the other name brand of the other one, but a can he definitely has a canna there and all Canadian stuff there. All his brands are Canadian.
I'm in.
Awesome. Peter Keleghan, can you please let everybody know a self therapy tip that you do? Because here on Therapy Hub, we kind of like to end the the live with giving somebody something positive to do, because we know times are tough and people go through some things, uh, through a lot of things. Can you give a self therapy tip on what you do? Because as an actor, things can get a little busy for you and stressful and a little overwhelming.
Or the opposite, yeah.
Yeah, or the opposite. Yeah, boring. Let me know.
So
Let me know
when's
about.
the next job? When's the next job?
Yeah, yeah. Let me know how do you deal with it, and I let the people know how you deal with it and what you do for self therapy.
Uh, I used to say something like, no matter how bad it gets, it can always get worse.
Hmm.
And I sort of moved on from that to it always works out at the end.
Right.
And if it hasn't worked out, it's not the end. Because it always kind of does.
Hmm.
When you're in the middle of a horrible mess or a death or a tragedy or a lean part of your life, as long as you as long as you know that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, that focusing on woe is me or focusing on uh how bad it is at that time.
Hmm.
Once you tune into that frequency, I think you were talking earlier a bit metaphysical, but I strongly believe that once you tune into a frequency of any kind of negativity and you stay in that negative place, you're going to attract more negative stuff.
Right.
And if you can possibly meditate yourself into a place where it's incrementally better, whatever it is. Oh, look, that sunrise is fantastic, or that sunset is fantastic,
Hmm.
or my dog is loving me, or whatever it is, you'll attract more of that. You'll attract more of what you think on. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate your words of encouragement and your words of wisdom.
My pleasure. Great talking to you.
Great
Well,
talking to you as well, man. Thank
we'll
you for
see you at
coming
the we'll
on.
see you at the cheese shop.
We see you at the cheese shop. I'm
Oh, and
actually.
and send me the link for that documentary.
I will. I'll message you as soon as I'm done on my live. I'll send you a message and we can.
Okay, I got something else to do, but I'll check in with you a little bit later or tomorrow morning.
Okay, sounds good, man. All right. Thank you so
Bye, all.
much,
Thank
Peter.
you. See ya.
Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Keleghan, the legend of over 40 years of Canadian acting, and there you have it. He has told you everything about the ins and outs about the acting industry, and the difference between the Canadian industry and the American industry, and as well as some self therapy tips and tools, and his experience on Murdoch Mysteries. I think that was a really great interview. Thank you so much for coming on Therapy Hub. That was probably one of the best interviews we've had all year or so far. Now I just want to just let everybody know my tips for self therapy this week. And like you guys know, I usually like hitting the punching bag, and I usually like doing my workouts here. But I've continued it. As a matter of fact, I found a little spot in my living room where I can build a gym. So now I purchased a dip bar. So now I'm gonna go pick that up, and now I'm gonna be doing my dips. As you see, I'm looking good. I'm looking fit. I'm 42 years old and I feel like I'm 23. So, you know, that's my self therapy, is just keeping my mind active and keeping my body fit so I can keep my mind going. All right, because it works hand in hand. Subconscious mind, subconscious body, subconscious mind, subconscious body. But anyhow, I just want to just exit out today. It's been a long, long, long show. Actually, no, we only been an hour, but it's been it's been too long of me talking. Time for me to go and go do some other work at my other job. But listen, I thank y'all so much for tuning in and tapping in, and be sure to watch us on Mondays and Thursdays every day. Or sorry, Mondays and Thursdays every time at 8 p.m. live. All right, because we're here to heal the mind, transform the mind, and heal the soul. All right, transform the mind and heal the soul. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and you have yourself a peaceful and safe night. Peace and love.